Hi, T.O.T. Carlson here, and once again, it's movie time. Arrow Video is doing what they do best once again, and one of the latest films they put out in 4K is one of my all-time favorites, RoboCop. Classic sci-fi satire directed by Paul Verhoeven that remains one of the absolute best films of its type. Gritty, violent, but also darkly satirical and comedic. I was really happy to revisit this movie in 4K this time. This time around, we get the director's cut and the theatrical cut of the movie. I'm going to do an unboxing of the release. I'll share my opinions on the movie and even talk a little about the bonus features. So here's a look at the cover there with the title character. Got the Arrow logo down there. This, of course, is just the backing card. Here's the spine text with the logo for the film. Backing card mainly just lists the features, and it's got all the legalese and credits down at the bottom. Yeah, here's the back cover. This is actually the front cover right here with RoboCop emerging from his car. Inside of the package, we do have a booklet in here, which is very cool. RoboCop, same image emerging from the car. Nice vintage image on the back there. Cast and crew listing, got the OCP logo up there. Some essays and rare production photos and things like that in here. As usual, I'm not going to go through and show off every page, but there is some cool stuff in here. There's even a comparison chart between the censorship that was done in the TV version and the uncensored lines. We have the two discs that make up the release. One of the discs is the director's cut, and it also has the bulk of the bonus features. We then have the R-rated theatrical cut. And when we have everything taken out of the package, we got a nice look at the OCP boardroom where the ED 209 is tested out, and of course, fails terribly. RoboCop, of course, is set in the not-so-distant future. The city of Detroit has filed for bankruptcy, so a conglomerate known as OCP has taken over running the police department and several other major parts of people's lives. With them running the department, there's a lot of technology and new solutions that are introduced, including their Vice President Dick Jones, who introduces the ED 209 robot, but when that fails quite terribly and results in the death of a board member, another member of the board ends up proposing the RoboCop program, which would turn a dead police officer killed in the line of duty into a cyborg who will enforce the law efficiently, effectively, and brutally as need be. When police officer Murphy is killed following pursuing a gang, he's chosen for the RoboCop project, and it's not long before he's out on the streets doing what he does best, but Murphy starts to slowly regain his humanity, and meanwhile, there's a conspiracy going on with one of the heads of OCP collaborating with criminals, and it's not long before all hell breaks loose, and Murphy finds himself fighting for his life, trying to defend his city, not only from criminals, but also from the corrupt heads of OCP. RoboCop is a sci-fi classic, and I absolutely love what Paul Verhoeven actually does with this movie, not only giving us gritty, brutal violence, but also this charming, dark, satirical angle to things. We have a lot of mock TV commercials and presentations throughout the movie that sort of display the state of the world and the obliviousness of the people to just how ludicrous and over the top things have truly become. This is something else that would be done to perfection in another one of his films, Starship Troopers. And I absolutely love that angle. It's a nice combination of all worlds. There were certainly sequels to RoboCop, plus a remake in 2014, but none of those movies ever came close to the original. It's a hard-hitting movie that it hits every note perfectly. The casting is great. The special effects are great. The violence is over the top and spectacular. And again, I love satire, and this perhaps does it better than any movie I've ever seen. That may be a bit of a tall claim, but I like this movie that much, and I think when you see it for the first time or revisit it, you'll see what I mean. The cast includes the likes of Peter Weller as Murphy, who gets turned into RoboCop, Nancy Allen as his female partner, Kurtwood Smith, probably best known for playing Red on that 70s show as a gang leader, Ronnie Cox, who played Bogomil in the Beverly Hills Cop movies as Dick Jones, a corrupt head at OCP, Daniel O'Herlihy as the old man who's the total boss of OCP. He'd previously played the main villain in the film Halloween 3. There's a lot of interesting twists and turns in the movies, and I love just about everything about it. I don't know how many times I've bought RoboCop on home video, and I have a pretty good feeling this won't be the last time I do either. So how does Arrow Video's presentation of this sci-fi classic measure up? You have to understand, first of all, this is a very gritty film that uses a lot of different filming techniques. So you're going to have some scenes that look pristine. You're going to have some scenes that have pretty heavy grain spiking and softness to them. The scenes that are of television presentations, like the newscasts in the film, those were shot in the way that TV is recorded back in the day on like older, inferior, CRT equipment. So those scenes, understandably, are going to look lower resolution than the rest of the film, but that's how they were meant to look, so no complaints there. Throughout the movie, fine object detail is spectacular. The black levels, the colors look amazing. Like I said, it is a bit of a pastiche of different sources and filming techniques, so you will get heavy film grain in some scenes, but that's how the movie was intended to look, and I'm really glad to see Arrow didn't use a bunch of noise reduction to try to wipe that out. The movie looks the way it should. It's the absolute best, most faithful presentation of RoboCop that I've seen to date. And I'm happy to say that I think this even bests the Blu-ray version that came out a few years ago. This is most likely sourced from the same 4K master that was sourced from. There are a ton of bonus features here, and I believe all of these previously appeared on the older release of the film. You've got like interviews with cast and crew. There's a tribute to composer Basil Polidoris, who of course would go on to score Paul Verhoeven's Starship Troopers, as well as the Western TV miniseries Lonesome Dove. And then you have just a ton of stuff here. I mean, I'll show you the backing card one more time, just because those two paragraphs right there are pretty much all special features. That's how much stuff is in here. On the theatrical cut disc, we even have an edited for TV cut of the movie. It's in standard def only, but I appreciate the fact that that was included for completion's sake, and some of the censorship is actually pretty laughable in places. There's even a montage that shows like side-by-side clips of comparisons between the different versions of the film, and there's a montage of like alternate shot and dubbed over takes for the television version if you don't want to sit through the whole television cut of the movie. And most of those are surprisingly in pretty good shape and sourced from the proper film elements. I have to say, I'm very happy with this release, and I think any fan of RoboCop is going to be very happy with what's to be had here. There aren't really any new features, but there were so many things in the old release that are ported over here, so can you really complain much? Are you a fan of RoboCop? What do you think of this movie? Comment down below and let me know what you think. Also, remember to subscribe to this channel for more content because I'm always posting new videos. Make sure you give this one a like if you found it helpful. I'm Taylor T. Carlson. See you next time.